guest is someone that I have worked with for years and years and years. He's former political editor of The Sun. He's supposed to have retired, but he's so good at what he does that we keep bringing him out of retirement. Good morning, Trevor.
Good morning, Jane, and thank you very much for inviting me on your show.
The Sean Connery of journalism, that's what I always call you. You're looking fantastic. Lots of stories to talk about today. Let's start. I mean, that message that I just read out from Kitty in Hove saying about, you know, illegal immigrants coming here who are with criminal tendencies, etc. We've got two sort of stories around that. The migrant that followed a young woman out of a nightclub to attack her. A court has heard that he caught up with her underneath a railway bridge, grabbed her by the neck before carrying out a sexual attack. That is terrifying. And of course, in tandem with that, we have France, who is holding Britain. I think our deal with France runs out in March, if I'm right. And the reports today are saying that Paris wants to squeeze even more money out of us. I think we've already paid them nearly 500 million already. They want to squeeze more money out of us to help control our borders.
Yes, well, I mean, it was never going to work with France, and no matter how much money we give them, they're not going to do the job of stopping migrants from leaving their country to come to our country. They don't want them in their country either. So, in a sense, we're doing them a favour by taking so many.
What I don't understand is how does it cost well, we pay them under the Sandhurst Pact 476 million. Put a load of police on the beach. There was that one photo they did, do you remember, on social media, where it was like we've stuck a knife into a boat and deflated it and we've stopped this boat. Why are they not doing that on a daily basis along the coast?
Well, it would be the simple option, wouldn't it? And it works, obviously, because they are immediately unable to set sail and are in shallow waters as well. So everything's safe, everything's fine. There's no reason why they can't do it. It's an attitude which emanates from the very top. Emmanuel Macron has never forgiven us for Brexit. He wants to punish us. He's not very keen on the rivalry between France and Britain is centuries old, but it seems to have reached its pinnacle under his presidency. And I don't think we're ever, while he's president, or possibly with any president of France, going to solve the problem of people coming across on these boats. We need to do something else. And there are things we can do, but we're tied by political cowardice.
And where does that cowardice come from? Is it sort of political correctness? Because, I mean, surely any politician now must look at the mood of the country and feel that, you know, doing something is going to be a beneficial thing, that the people are going to back it.
Well, I think that the politicians have ignored the views, which are very significant and substantial, of the voters of this country for more than 20 years.
Yeah.
And the biggest problem today is that we have a government of Labour human rights lawyers led by Keir Starmer, who is a KC in this subject. And they really, the Labour Party really doesn't believe in borders. I don't think that Keir Starmer really believes in borders, not to the point of protecting them. And I just think that they can't bring themselves to take any action which they would immediately regard in other people's hands as being racist.
But when but Trevor, when you're Prime Minister, what you believe is irrelevant, isn't it? You're supposed to be sort of delivering for the people that voted you in. And the manifesto that you delivered, which was very much, we're going to smash the small boats, we're going to be this party of decision and action, and it's all just completely come to nothing.
No, Jane, you've been in journalism a long time. You've got to learn that politicians, particularly the ones we've just elected, are liars. They will lie and cheat to get votes. They'll say, well, I mean, look at Rachel Reeves and her preparations for this hideous budget, which is the whole Labour government was elected on the basis of a lying manifesto.
I mean, let's move on to that. What the hell was all that about? I mean, the podium, the flags, the sort of Trump-esque sort of presentation, and then it was complete word salad.
Yes, it ended up as the Trump of doom, didn't it? I mean, what we were looking forward to maybe was a nice day with plans for, and then suddenly in strides this woman who speaks with a sort of foghorn voice, telling us that we're doomed, that we're all going to have to pay a lot more money, and that voters in the sort of pensionable age group are probably going to have to pay £15,000 each more every year. Now, you don't have to be in the, because I don't hope I don't have to explain that income tax is going to go up, national insurance contributions are going to come down to compensate those below the sort of £45,000 a year mark. That is aimed directly at pensioners who do not pay national insurance. And they are going to suddenly find what the Labour Party believes are the broad shoulders of the wealthy retired, that their income and their disposable income is going to be slashed in the next budget very significantly.
I mean, I just can't understand why you call a press conference to spend 20 minutes saying precisely nothing. I mean, A, it makes it looks like you think the electorate are idiots, that they're not going to see through it. And B, why are they not listening to the country? I just don't understand it. It's like they're sort of deaf, dumb and blind.
Well, nor do many people in the cabinet and the ministers in this government, MPs, backbenchers. They're as bewildered as you and I about the way that Starmer and Rachel Reeves are running this government in this country. They seem to be cack-handed in the extreme, and they don't just do stupid things, they repeat stupid things. They keep doing the wrong thing. And you don't need to be a trained economist to know that if you keep hitting employers with higher taxes, higher national insurance, more regulation on workers' rights and so on, that they're going to cease to employ quite so many people as they did. And indeed, some of them will go bust. So,
yeah,
it's so counterproductive.
Well, they already are. Yeah. I mean, it's complete common sense. And it's like, how many times can you go on blaming Liz Truss? I mean, Jeremy Hunt this morning, of course, who was a former Chancellor, said, I fixed all that within a couple of months. You can't keep standing up and blaming that on what is happening now.
Liz Truss was a flash in the pan. It was over and done with almost immediately. Yeah. And the effects, which I think were in fact exaggerated largely by the Bank of England at the time, were cured and curbed and put back on an even keel within days, not weeks, months, and now 18 months or 2 years since Labour was on the verge of winning the last election. They have done nothing in preparation in opposition for the problems and challenges of being actually in power. And now they suddenly find that they're in real serious difficulties and they're thrashing around with the opinion polls down to about 20%, a record low, trying to find a way of staving off the inevitable, which is defeat at the next general election.
But that is some time away. In between times, I mean, if I had £1 for every time I've read that, Keir Starmer's going to go, when is he going to go?
Well, I suspect between now or maybe soon after the local elections, the reception for the budget, which is going to be bad, I suspect, will be bad for Keir Starmer as well as for Rachel Reeves, because he has bolstered Number 10's economic unit in order to contribute to the planning for this budget. It's as much his budget as it is Rachel Reeves, but the real test will be the denouement at the local elections, when Reform almost certainly will sweep the board, Labour will be decimated, and it's quite possible that the Tories might start to pick up a little ground as well.
And we both know, whatever you think of Reform, Nigel Farage is a seasoned politician. He knows exactly how to speak to the people of Britain. And this week, when he says things like, we're going to support alarm clock Britain, the people that wake up in the morning, perhaps while their neighbours' curtains remain closed until 11 a.m, still getting the same money as them, that resonates with people. And Labour are just sort of sleepwalking into not recognising that.
Yes, and I think that he's got a very good knack of finding what Tony Blair called eye-catching initiatives. This is a view of the hard-working working class, which is now Reform's base for voting. that they're doing all the work and other people are lying in bed. There was a trade union leader, engineering union leader, who said that his members were really furious when they got up for work and left the house at 7 o'clock and saw the houses across the street with the curtains closed because the people in there were not working and they were still in bed. That really does stir people up when they're having to pay more tax and all the other costs of going to work, and other people are going on benefits. So all of this, and none of which is being touched or addressed by this government, nor will it be for the whole of the time it has left. This is really giving Reform and Nigel Farage a terrific boost.
I mean, one of Tony Blair's eye-catching phrases or initiatives, of course, was education, education, education. So let's move on to the story of the sort of dumbing down, as it's being accused, of the national curriculum. Michael Gove, I mean, he sort of did a lot, I feel. I know he took on the unions. He did a lot, I feel, to try and improve education. Is this a step back?
Oh, a huge step back. And Michael Gove, indeed, perhaps the biggest single thing he ever achieved as a cabinet minister was to start shaking up the education process and putting education back into the classroom. And he lost his job because of the cowardice of David Cameron, who, because it was unpopular with teachers' unions and some parents, decided it was unsafe to keep him. And that was one of the biggest mistakes of many of the Cameron era. But the thing is that the teachers' unions have been on a long march since the 1960s, and their view is capture the minds of tomorrow's voters. Give me the child until he is 7, and I will give you the 18-year-old or now 16-year-old who will elect the next government.
Yes, I mean, I was saying earlier to former head teacher Tim Clark, I mean, I kind of like the idea of creative subjects being built up a bit. I do sort of feel that the old curriculum, you know, I remember learning about oxbow lakes. I don't think that piece of information has ever been useful to me ever since, although you never know. I do feel that there is an argument for modernising the national curriculum, but of course they always can't help themselves by putting in sort of things like climate change and, you know, stuff like that, that of course is sort of political nonsense in terms of kids can learn about climate change from the headlines. They don't need to learn about it in school.
And indeed diversity. I think all of this is left-wing propaganda dressed up as education. And I mean, at least you can still remember at the age of 35 about oxbow lakes. I think that at least stuck in your mind. That's what education is about. It's using your mind, making it retentive, it's making it elastic, tackling difficult subjects. Geography is a difficult subject, and that's what Oxbow Lakes comes under. So, you know, maths and sciences are the future for us. And if we don't have children growing up as scientists and people capable of doing hard jobs like that, we have no future in the economic world.
Okay, well, Trevor, thank you very much. As ever, brilliant to talk to you, and I hope you're enjoying your retirement.